Hello everyone. I am here to present a case of patient EC diagnosed with anorexia nervosa. I'm presenting to you as Marigold for our Nursing 106 course Mental Health Nursing. So what is anorexia nervosa? Anorexia nervosa is an eating disorder characterized by weight loss or lack of appropriate weight gain in growing children, difficulties maintaining an appropriate body weight for height, age, and stature, and, in many individuals, distorted body image. Predisposing factors. For anorexia nervosa, depression, anxiety, and obsessive-compulsive disorders are common comorbidities. Experts tend to agree that there is no single cause. Rather, it is developed from a complex interaction of psychological risk factors, social-cultural influences, and biological or genetic predispositions. Anatomy and physiology of the brain. I'd like to share to you a study entitled How Malnourishment Affects the Brain, Research on Anorexia in Neurobiology. The conclusion for this study is that the answer is unknown. The brains of those with and recovered from anorexia have subtle but impactful differences from those who have never struggled with the disorder. The brains of people with anorexia have a different reward response, react differently to feedback, and have altered serotonin pathways. With regards to the study, the brains of the people who have or had anorexia don't even respond to food or pictures of it. When given sugar, people who are recovered from anorexia show less brain activity than other people who like sugar and have never had an eating disorder, leading to researchers to believe that people with anorexia get less pleasure from food. The same researchers perform a well-known guessing game where people can win or lose money. The group that recovered from anorexia had similar reaction to both winning and losing. These results suggested that people with anorexia have trouble distinguishing between positive and negative feedback, which could explain why it's so tough to motivate them to go into treatment or appreciate the consequences of their behavior. Altered brain serotonin function contributes to dysregulation of appetite, which is related to anorexia nervosa, and given the comorbidities of depression and OCD, so mood and impulse control in eating disorders. In a recent study in June this year, the study revealed that people with anorexia demonstrated a sizable reductions in 3 critical measures of the brain: the cortical thickness, subcortical volumes, and cortical surface area. In this slide of a cerebral cortex, I would like to discuss very basic information about it. So the cerebral cortex is the outer layer that lies on top of our cerebrum. The cerebrum is the largest area above our brain, and it divides into 2 halves, which is the right hemisphere and the left hemisphere. The cerebral cortex consists of columns of gray matter neurons with white matter located underneath. In anorexia nervosa, it is thought that these areas, the gray matter, are reduced in size, and reductions in the brain size are significant because they are ought to imply the loss of brain cells or the connections between them. Patient profile. So EC is a 21-year-old female Aboriginal who lives in a house in Regina with her parents and 1 younger brother. She was brought in by her mother to emergency department for a significant weight loss to the point her ribs are visually evident and she gets short of breath. No history of prior medical diagnosis, but mother reported signs of depression. Patient is currently an active cheerleader at school and loves to draw and sketch at home. EC got eventually admitted for a diagnosis of anorexia nervosa. No cultural barriers were identified. Objective data: height of 165 centimeters, weight of 30 kilograms, blood pressure of 80/60 mmHg, pulse of 53 beats per minute, labs which showed hemoglobin of 90 grams per deciliter, cachectic appearance, lanugo, pale, sad facial expression, flat affect, bruising to spine area due to constantly doing abdominal crunches. Subjective data includes denies treatment and verbalize, "My mother is worried about me, but I just need to rest." More verbalizations from the patient include, "I do crunches several times daily to maintain my abs. I have to stay fit because I am one of the senior cheerleaders and have been always fit for years." And a depressed mood. Nursing process. For the assessment part, 2 direct quotations I would use to exemplify therapeutic nursing communication skills are as follows. The first thing is I would like to introduce myself. "Hi Emily, my name is Marigold and I am your nurse today. I would like to sit and spend time with you. Can you tell me what brought you into the hospital today?" And as Emily would start to share and open up, I would say statements such as, "Go on, tell me more about it," and then, and these are offering self and offering general leads. This offers presence, interest, and a desire to understand, allows the person to take direction in the discussion. It indicates interest in what comes next. Another would be if Emily would say, "I can't talk to you or anyone else. It is a waste of time. I am fine and eating okay." I would respond by saying, "Do you perceive that no one understands?" And this is verbalizing the implied, which puts into concrete terms what the patient implies, making the communication more explicit. Moving on to our nursing diagnosis. First, imbalanced nutrition less than body requirements related to restriction of caloric intake, secondary to extreme fear of weight gain. Second, chronic low self-esteem related to perception that others are always judging her. Treatment goals for Emily. First, patient will reach at least 75% of ideal weight, which is 44 kilograms, and that is based on the patient's age, stature, height, and her current weight. And she should be able to reach this goal by discharge and be able to regulate eating patterns. Second, patient will demonstrate ability to identify and confront irrational thoughts and negative feelings towards self, resulting in positive coping mechanisms. Nursing interventions implementation phase. Acknowledging the emotional and physical difficulty the patient is experiencing to establish a therapeutic alliance. Weighing patient daily for the first week and then 3 times per week. Being empathic when patients struggle to give up control of her eating and her weight, as she is expected to make minimum weight gain on a regular basis. Permit the patient to verbalize feelings at these times, for these are very helpful. Pharmacologic intervention. Research has not yet demonstrated that medications are effective as the first course of treatment, and despite the lack of rigorous scientific studies, SSRIs such as fluoxetine, Prozac, has been clinically useful in reducing OC behaviors, or those obsessive-compulsive behaviors, after the patient has reached a maintenance weight. Like for a patient, she would do abdominal crunches to the point that her spine would get bruised. Atypical antipsychotics such as olanzapine and Zyprexa are helpful in improving mood and decreasing OC behaviors and resistance to weight gain. Very important is the patient and family teaching. Once patients are started on medications, and for this patient for the SSRIs, patient and very importantly family who are with the patient should be taught of the medication's common adverse reactions, which include agitation, anxiety, sleep disturbance, tremors, and tension headache. Moreover, patient and family should be taught of serotonin syndrome, which is a rare and life-threatening event. Symptoms include abdominal pain, diarrhea, sweating, fever, increased heart rate or tachycardia, increase of blood pressure, delirium, muscle spasms, irritability, hostility, and mood change. Evaluation. By the end of the 14th week, Emily has achieved a stable weight of 44 kilograms. This weight is approaching congruency to her height, frame, and age. Her vital signs and laboratory values are consistently normal. By the end of the 14th week, Emily has identified and reported negative feelings and thoughts towards herself and managed these feelings appropriately that resulted in complying with regular eating patterns, which in turn yielded positive outcomes. Treatment outcomes. Emily has consistently increased her weight, and on the 10th week of her hospitalization, her weight is at 38 kilograms. Her hemoglobin levels at 116 grams per deciliter. Vital signs have improved, BP of 90/60 mmHg, heart rate of 65 beats per minute. Emily has been cooperating and increasing social interaction during meals and snack times. She is also able to share feelings of doubts and sadness and dealing with these emotions effectively by showing more control of her meals and continues to eat more solid food with less liquid supplement. Patient resources. I have identified 3 community support resources for Emily. First, the eating disorder information, and which is very accessible for a no-cost fee, which is in Regina. The website is here, hotline is listed, hours of operation, and there is an option to do instant chat and an email address. Second is a family support program, which is also in Regina for a no-cost fee as well. This provides support to families and their children through culturally appropriate holistic healing and preventative services, which includes healing issues and personal skills, family counseling, advocacy, information and referrals, and crisis intervention. Very essential, especially for families like Emily's, because she also has a younger brother that the parents have to take care of. Hours of operation are listed, as well as an address and a phone number. Third one is a mental health chat rooms and forums, no cost, and is open 24/7, which offers online emotional health service and provides an online therapy service. Given Emily's age and she has access to her phone, she can always have the option to do chat rooms and forums, which would help her deal with her existing situation. A website is also listed, as well as an email address. Crisis support resources are listed, such as mobile crisis helpline in Regina and a mobile crisis services. And here are the references for this slideshow. Thank you for listening and watching, and sharing your thoughts. Bye.